This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you!
Boring. Boring. Boring.
Okay, you gotta work. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're gonna feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that. That's exactly what you're doing. You're in no position to dictate what we're gonna feel.
I call again for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the return of the sausages, the hostages.
Welcome on all to another, perhaps quite special edition of Lembit Öpik Live here on Unprecedented TV, where we find the facts, kill the spin, and tell it like it is all over the world. Well, we've reached another 1,000th milestone. For you subscribers, a big thank you. If you haven't subscribed, please go to @Unprecedented TV on YouTube and just click the button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps us a lot. And also, you'll find a treasure trove of hundreds and hundreds of programs, all for your delectation and all for free for now. So that's Unprecedented TV. Adverts over. Now, why have I got Parliament in the background? It's because if you're watching this live, that's where the action is. Keir Starmer, the wounded animal, also known as the Prime Minister, has been in the most incredible trouble. There's one group of people that hate him, Britain. And a subset of that is the Labour Party, who say that they've got undying support for him and then stab him in the back. Wes Streeting has been counter-briefing against him while still saying that he wasn't planning to stand for leader. The Scottish man, Mr. Sawa, who's the leader of the Scottish Labour Party, said, you've got to go, causing Labour's attack dogs in Westminster say that Mr. Sawa's not fit to be in office. That's the quality of change that Keir Starmer promised us and the 2024 general election. But who is in charge? Who is the beneficiary? And of course, the backdrop to all of this, if you're watching it live, is a hugely important by-election in the Manchester area in a place called Gorton and Denton. And Labour considered that a safe seat. 51% of the vote. So over half of the people who voted all voted Labour. And now they might lose it. Well, what's going to happen there? Is this a clear and present danger to the future of the Prime Minister? Can he survive till 2029, till 2027, till May, or the end of the week? Joining me now is a reform refugee, the man previously known as Conservative Keith Pinch AM, but now a reformer. Welcome to Lembit Öpik Live, Keith. How is it in your new political home?
Yeah, it's great. It's a real upgrade.
An upgrade, but you have to say that. Is that the same way that all the Labour MPs are completely behind Keir Starmer?
No, because I mean it, and they probably don't. Well, they probably are behind Starmer, sharpening their knives, I should think.
You must be quite familiar with all of these.
It's 300 plus, yeah.
The Conservatives used to have pretty much a factory churning out has-been prime ministers for a while.
Well, it's probably the sausages that our good friend was referring to.
The return of the sausages. What I'm worried about. Come on. I did promise change. I'm giving you change. It's worse. Everything's worse. My problem is, if he loses his job, we're going to have to change the opener and the closer of the show.
Yeah, you will, won't you? Yeah,
that's going to cost us money. Come on, Keir.
Andrew looked lovely on that, though, wouldn't she? You know, she really will.
Well, I'm going to talk to you about who you think it is. Here's one. Well, this is one of the ones we might use. I don't think so somehow. This reminds us of Keir Starmer's brilliant failure to even lift a legal finger against Jimmy Savile, the multiple sex offender, when Keir Starmer was head of the Crown Prosecution Service. Now, I wouldn't raise this, Keith, but Keir Starmer keeps telling us what a great job he did at the Crown Prosecution Service. But somehow, Jimmy Savile, hiding in plain sight, a known paedophile, known to be doing this in the BBC, slipped through the net, did not appear in court one single time. That was a dangerous portent for the future, wasn't it?
Indeed. But got a bit of form then, obviously.
Well, I would say so. Let's start with the big picture here. Now, obviously, events are going to run faster than the reruns, the archive of this. If you're watching this live, it's probably current. How long do you think Keir Starmer will last? And we're broadcasting this in early February 2026. When's he out?
Well, he has to be out definitely after the May elections. It's just a question of whether or not he can survive that long, really.
It does seem to me that no one seriously thinks he's going to go past that anymore.
No, well, he just can't. He can't. If the party's got any sense, they probably will cling on to him until then. But I mean, I'd be surprised in some circumstances if he lasts till the end of the week.
Yeah, it does seem like that. But why do you say the party should hold on to him till the May elections?
Well, because do they really want to be going through a leadership challenge and all the backstabbing and infighting that causes during an election? I wouldn't have thought so.
Except
I hope they do. I hope they do. But personally, if they were asking for my advice, and they probably never would, I'd say that's the very last thing you want to do.
Except that the assumption at the moment is, and we'll talk about the by-election in a minute, that Keir Starmer is, as one person put on a tweet I saw, like milk on a radiator. He's just going off. It's a good line, isn't it?
I like that. That's good. Yeah, I like that analogy. Yeah.
And the longer he stays, the worse it stinks. When I was at school,
that's true.
When I was at school, the boy who sat in front of me, I
heard you went to a very good school, Lembit. It was approved.
A very Royal Belfast Academical Institution. It was a proper school. It's a grammar school. Let's leave it there.
What did the socialists do to them? I can't remember.
Running water, law and order, and 18 dramatic years in Northern Ireland. But the boy in front of me, he'd spilt milk into his jotter, but he didn't want to throw it away because it was all his notes for the year. The smell was unbelievable. That's what I think is happening in the Labour Party. Now, what you got Keir Starmer, when he comes along, they say, pretend you haven't noticed. Just pretend you haven't noticed anything. But of course, everyone knows that there's a stench of failure around him now.
Mm.
Can he seriously be expected to make it to May when everything he touches turns to dust?
Well, I think that I come from Romford. Dust is not the word I would use.
Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a family show.
But yeah, and that stinks as well. I would be surprised if he did, but as I say, it would be whatever happens now is a disaster for the Labour Party. Really, it absolutely is. They've proven beyond all doubt: one, that they don't tell the truth; two, they've got no idea how to run the economy; three, U-turn if you want to again and again and again; and four, they can't be trusted. They just can't be trusted, and they're no better than the nasty Tories. They said they were going to have a clean act, that they were going to do this better and that, but they are worse. I can't believe it. I cannot believe they are actually worse than the Tories.
Oh, I can. I thought that they would be worse, and they are worse. Let's look at the Keir Starmer disaster area. We could have picked any number of people for this particular slide. Is that Morgan McSweeney?
Mm-hmm.
I think there he is with Keir Starmer. Morgan McSweeney pretty much installed Starmer in Downing Street. Mm. He's attributed glory for the great Labour victory in 2024, except it wasn't a great Labour victory. They got a third of the vote of those who bothered to vote and a fifth of the electorate. In other words, 20% of the actual eligible electors in Britain voted for this shower. But it's still unquestionably reported as this man, the architect of the result in 2024. He was, in my view, thrown to the dogs because of Starmer's decision-making. Please explain this to me, Keith. How is it that Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, expects his little advisor to take full responsibility for Keir Starmer's decision? There's a clue in the name, advisor.
No, come on. I mean, this is risible. The guy, McSweeney, said that he's resigned out of principle because he didn't he thought the appointment shouldn't be made, blah blah. Well, if you thought that then, you should have resigned then, not now, so that you can try and save the leader of the party. Nobody takes that seriously at all. If you had an issue with the appointment then, resign then, not now. Not now that it's broken that it's broken out on the news that we all know what was going on and we all know what Mandelson was. It's just laughable.
It is strange. And here's the problem I've got. This isn't a surprise. I worked with Peter Mandelson about 20 years ago when he was Secretary of State for Northern Ireland. He was a liar. He lied. He just plain lied. And you knew he was lying. And then at one point he caught me out because I trusted something very important he was saying. Turned out he was lying to me and the late David Trimble. He double-crossed us about something quite important. And then I was so sure. I vowed I was going to make a complaint because lying is a ministerial breach. But it didn't need to because he got fired just after he did it. And that was one of the 2 times he got fired. Here's the point, though, Keith. Everybody knew he was a bad egg, apart from Keir Starmer. So he blames, I was going to say Sweeney Todd, but it's Morgan McSweeney, isn't it? He blames Morgan McSweeney. What for? For not reminding Keir Starmer what was in the flipping public domain.
Well, it's the old adage, isn't it? If it looks like a bad egg and it smells like a bad egg, it is a bad egg. And he stunk to high heaven, didn't he?
He really did. And what I don't get is why they didn't understand it. Is there any...
Well, because to be fair, I mean, whatever you say about the man, he's incredibly intelligent, unbelievably connected, such an amazing networker that if you're in the tent, you're probably better off having him in the tent than outside.
What, Mandelson?
Yeah.
I didn't take him. I didn't think of him as particularly intelligent. I just didn't. Certainly, he hasn't got emotional intelligence. When I don't know if you've met him, but when you were in a room with him, you just felt this is really uncomfortable. It was kind of that icky feeling you sometimes get about people.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I bring you into my home. I welcome you onto this show, and this is how you treat me. This is outrageous. No wonder you jumped ship from one party to another. I'd never. Okay, let's move on. So I just don't think Mandelson's that smart. I literally just don't think he's that good.
I think he's a very sharp operator. Really, really, he is. I mean, he was part of the team that made a completely unelectable party into one of the most successful parties of its time.
Well, yeah, I would say that was more Alistair Campbell, actually, to be honest with you. But okay, we're going reminiscing into things that a lot of people aren't interested in. Fundamentally, though, the problem they've got now is Mandelson has virtually brought down the entire government by his antics. We've now got Sawa here in Scotland, leader of the Scottish Liberal Democrats. That's history. Let's try and say that again. Harking back to what I said before. The leader of Scottish Labour openly calling for him to stand down. That's a whole nation represented by the Labour leader there saying he's got to go. That's a really bad look. There's no way back for Scotland now, because he actually went further and said, well, actually, if this man carries on in the role, then we're going to lose badly in Scotland. So the Scottish leader has more or less said this man is toxic.
Yeah, well, then again, if you're the Scottish leader and you don't think you're going to do very well, it's a very good idea to hang that hook on someone else, isn't it? So if they do really well, it's because he's brilliant. If they do rubbish, then it's because of Keir Starmer. It's quite a smooth move if you think about it.
Is it, though? Because essentially, you can't come back from that, though. I mean, there's no way that Starmer can be in any way, even if he does survive, and I doubt where he was, he can. Anna Sawa is more or less guaranteed that there is no way that they're going to get any help from head office, and no way that they're going to get any support from Starmer's cabal, which is still a majority, probably.
Mm. Well, Starmer definitely won't be turning up to help with the elections, will he? That's for sure.
Well, not when you got headlines like this. Scottish Labour leader Anna Sawa calls on Keir Starmer to stand down. Sarwar tells press conference the distraction has to end and the leadership and downmanship has to change. There's no ambiguity in that.
No.
It's not like, shall I put you down as a maybe or a probable?
Possibly.
I mean, even people who didn't vote for me weren't that rude in my constituency. At least the flipping leader, Keith.
He's definitely not what we call a U. He's definitely not an undecided, is
No,
he?
he's not an undecided. That is true. So this is the thing. This is why I can't see how Starmer can survive. You got Labour in Wales are absolutely being roasted by their opponents, and it's very likely that Reform will come first or second. I'm pretty sure of that now.
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, obviously you do. And I went to Caerphilly by-election quite a lot. I could see that Plaid Cymru were going to win, but Reform went from 0 to hero. They came a good second. And Labour absolutely tanked. Now, the fact is, I didn't think Reform could get the momentum because, in a sense, even though Plaid Cymru have done lots of deals with Labour, they're not Labour. So they haven't got quite the same stench of failure that Labour have at the moment, and they're not Starmer. And so I think that I wonder if basically the result of that then, the reality here is that anybody who's close to Labour now is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of tactical voting, which means even more Labour votes will be siphoned off, won't they?
Well, yeah. Well, I think, as I said before, and we'll talk about this a bit later on, but that's why I think that the Greens are doing so well. But upshot of it is...
No, I think that Zach, or whatever his real name is doing all the canvassing, and he's just hypnotising people into voting for Green.
Yes, the boob whisperer.
I'm glad you said that on your show. Yeah.
Well, I think boob is an acceptable word. Here he is, actually. I think there he is. Zach Polanski. That's not his real name. Can I get his real name before we finish? Thanks. I don't know him. I think he'd probably be quite a good laugh.
What I've noticed is he's always manhandling his female candidate, which I think is a bit bizarre.
But he's gay. He's publicly gay. Don't you not know that?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people who are gay that go both ways, aren't there? Actually,
his real name or his original name was David.
Didn't Noel Coward have sons?
By default, for all I know.
Noel Coward have sons?
But David Holden was his name.
Yes, David something.
That's Zach Polanski. But just since
like
mentioned
David Burrows or something like that, isn't it? I think actually.
No, it was. Well, I just said was his name.
Was it? Oh, what was that?
Do you even pay attention when you're on television, or is it just something that you don't think is important? It's Polden. His surname's Polden. I can't remember his first name myself, but it's not very memorable. Just let's cover the Greens, and after the break, we'll talk about everyone else. Just why are the Greens doing so well in your view?
Because Labour are doing so badly.
Okay.
And they are the only, for people of that persuasion, they're the only viable alternative. I mean, who would even look at the Liberal Democrats?
I have to say, I'm so despondent about the Lib Dems. I wasn't going to even mention them. They got something like 3% the last time. They're, I would say, destined to go down. I don't see how they're going to do that. But somebody I know is actually standing, but not convinced. After the break, I want to talk to you a little bit more about what's going on there. I want to talk to you about the plans that the dear leader of Reform may have as well. He's got a lot to smile about at the moment. The question is, what will happen to Keir Starmer? What will happen to Nigel Farage? What will happen to the country? Before we talk about all that, I want to remind you of Tim Scott Uncancelled, who is one of our other great presenters here, also head of the Freedom Association. With Tim Scott Uncancelled, he reviews the stories in the papers so that you don't have to. Fabulous chap there. That's Tim Scott with Tim Scott Uncancelled. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. I know I say it a lot, but it helps us a lot as well. With me still, Keith Prince of Reform UK. Your MP, who's a Tory, Conservative. Sorry, you don't like Tory. Conservative.
No, he was a Tory, actually. No, he was a Tory.
I can't keep up with that.
He is a Tory, yeah.
But you kind of say it like an insult. You even said it as an insult when you were in the Conservatives. It's a subtlety. It's a subtlety I've pretended to understand it, Keith. I never really have, I have to say.
You know, you pretend to understand a lot of things. It's true.
I don't understand. Why did Andrew Rosendale join you in Reform? Did he follow you, or did he do this independently? Would he have jumped ship anyway, even if you hadn't?
Well, to be honest, I mean, Andrew is more Reform than Reform, actually. So it is a natural home for him. I don't think my being here or there had very much, if any, influence on his decision at all, frankly.
Okay, well, anyway, you're in the same party now.
We are.
And that party seems to be doing pretty well. You've got Matt Goodwin. There he is. Actually sat next to him in a dinner a few months ago. Didn't realise he was likely to be, had a very good chance of becoming a member of parliament. Now, he's a bit of a TV celebrity. He's not from Gorton and Denton, though, is he?
No, he's not.
Why didn't Reform choose a local person? Because there's
well,
local sites. We'll talk about him in a minute.
I suspect the answer to that, Lembit, is that there aren't any celebrities that live in Gorton.
And is celebrity important?
It seems to be becoming more important in politics today than it has for a long time, actually. Yeah. You know, Boris proved that. Boris won London. That no other Conservative or Tory would have won London when Boris won London, and it's looking like no Conservative or Tory will be winning London anytime soon, frankly.
No, it doesn't look like. Well, it depends. Sometimes I wonder.
You know, let's face it. I mean, a lot of Nigel's success, I mean, other than the fantastic policies that we have, is due to his celebrity, isn't it?
You mean Nigel Farage? Yeah, well, he's pretty effervescent. He lights up a room, as they say. There he is, lighting up a room. There he is.
He's got a really magnetic personality.
I find him, personal opinion, tremendously likable.
Me too.
I've known him for probably about 14 years now, properly. I knew him whenever he was a pariah, when nobody wanted to talk to him. Then everybody gets on the bandwagon. You go, don't forget me, Nigel. Don't forget me. I was there at the beginning. And now millions of people support him. Clearly, dynamo for support for Reform. How I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because you have to say propaganda type things when I ask it. But what happens if Reform, rather than asking you if Reform's going to win, because we're going to look at the odds in a minute anyway, what happens if Reform does win? Does that mean that Starmer has to resign?
Wins what? Oh, the by-election, you mean?
Yes, in the by-election.
Oh yeah, of course he does. Yeah. He's got nowhere to go at all then, as he's absolutely washed up, finished.
Yeah, it does seem to me that it's a really dark time for him, and it's not. He's a passenger. So
I mean, the problem he's got is does he go to Gorton and campaign?
That's a real dilemma. He wasn't seen very much in the local elections last year. Already, he was a problem, and Labour absolutely crashed in that. The point is, when you've got a prime minister who can't be used for anything, then there's not much point in having that kind of a leader, is there?
No.
You can easily Farage is likable and not likable, but depending who you are. But he's very charismatic.
Yeah, but he's Marmite.
If you don't like him, like to talk to him.
Yeah, he's Marmite, isn't he?
But at least some people like Marmite. At least some people like Marmite.
Well, exactly. 50% of the people like Marmite. So 50% of people like Reform. We've won. It's great.
Not something you can say about Starmer. If you had jars of Starmer, I wouldn't be spreading it on my toast. I've gone down a horrible. I can't unthink that now. We're going to.
Well, as you say, you know, Starmer is something that's gone off in the fridge, isn't it? You know, you pull it out, and think, there's all that mould on the top. This is only going in one direction, straight in the old bin.
It's possible. You probably know this. It's possible to eat honey from Egyptian pyramids because it never goes off. Starmer is not honey. There's no way he's hunting. I found a piece of fish which got in the back of my fridge. And
Yeah,
it
I must go and see if I've got some Egyptian pyramid honey laying around somewhere.
I got some if you want some. But this fish didn't fare so well.
No.
It had been thoroughly starmered. Even the other stuff in the fridge was trying to get away from it. That's Starmer for you. And the other stuff was dead. The fish was almost alive again. This is like, it's like a zombie. Starmer's like that fish. He doesn't realize politically he's dead. You know,
Yeah,
this is the thing. But it's just horrendous. Now, with reform, there is another dark horse, a group which was spawned. See what I did there? From Reform UK, and that's the Advanced UK people, Ben Habib's outfit. Ben Habib was very senior for a long time in Reform UK. Still speculation about what happened there. Well, they put up Nick Buckley, MB. I have to declare an interest. He's one of our regular contributors here. It's a coincidence, by the way. But I put to Nick Buckley, they launched their campaign here. I put it to him that if he does well, that increases the chance of either a Green, well, I said of a Labour victory. I didn't realise how well Green were doing at the time. And I said, you're splitting the vote. That if you do well advance, you're probably going to be competing for a lot of the vote with Reform. And that might not be that helpful, because what Reform did in the general election 2024 is exactly that. They leached tons of votes from the Tories, which meant Labour got a huge majority and the Tories crashed. Is there a danger that we're heading into the same territory with Advance and Reform?
well, there always is, isn't there? The question is, are they on the left or are they on the right? And who knows? But the challenge is always that if you get tactical voting and a particular side can't coalesce around one particular candidate, then the chances are that actually the left will coalesce around one candidate, i.e. we think maybe the Greens, and they win. Yeah, so it depends what they want. I mean, a lot of these are like, there's a lot of bitterness. I was involved in a by-election in Dagenham, and the Reform guy there was over the moon that the Tories didn't win that election because he took 500 votes away, but it turned out he was a Labour supporter. So there's a lot of bitterness in some of this. I don't know where Advance are going. Backwards, I think.
I'm sure they'd have a nice, hilarious phrase for you, for Reform as well. But it is interesting. He is fairly local, and it seems to me that he's playing that card. But if we're in a situation where Reform loses by, let's say, these are just made up figures. Buckley, Advanced UK gets 5,000 votes. Reform gets 10,000 votes, and the Greens get 11,000 votes. That would suggest that the split between Reform and Advance means that the Greens win. And you know my views about Greens. This is my opinion. They might be nice people at times, but they're totally cultist in believing in a non-existent climate emergency. And I think that's pernicious, and it's wrecking the first world. So is there no way that Reform and Advance UK can do some kind of a deal?
Well, I think that's if Advance, it depends what Advance want to do. I think they obviously are a spoiler party, the same way that Reform were spoilers in the last general. Then Advance are a spoiler party, so they're doing exactly what they want to do. Because if they wanted, if they had the real interests of the country at heart, which clearly they don't, they wouldn't stand against Reform, would they?
Well, they could say the same, but
well, not really. You know, if Reform didn't stand, everybody's not going to vote Advance, are they? Let's be serious.
This one is an interesting by-election because of this Green thing. One return to the Green Committee. Yeah, thank you. Well predicted. I'm wondering if the Greens could come up the middle here just because of what we said in the casual comment, but explicitly now, because what happens is they get they just get Labour voters punishing Labour, but not wanting to reward Reform.
Yeah,
and of course this will make that David Poulton, Zach Polanski character insufferable, and it'll give them another boost, won't it?
Yeah, but then there are Labour voters who are sick of Labour and actually want to vote Reform. A lot of people who are ex-Labour are coming over to reform. So,
But so it seems to me that the reform proposition is quite attractive. It's actually quite attractive. It's not because it's not really, well, you could argue it's right wing, but you could also say it's anti-establishment. There's some people say, oh, Farage is now establishment, he's sold out. But actually, Farage, I thought when the last time I saw him, I asked him about the TV license. He said, yeah, I'll scrap it. Because it's quite obvious there's a complete abandonment of the BBC charter in the BBC because they're activist reporters now. And there's stuff like that. And people like that because so many people get their news now from online, which is great for us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe at Unprecedented TV. So it could be that if Reform do win, that would be a massive fillet in terms of getting Labour sympathetic votes, because by definition, whoever wins has to get lots of Labour votes in that seat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't remember the exact figure, but I think I pay about £15 a month. I pay my TV license on. In fact, I pay for more than one TV license, and but that's not my choice. You know, I choose to pay for Amazon, and there's many other subscription services available. You know, I choose to do that. That's my choice. But I have no choice. If I want to watch anything else, I have to have a TV license, and there isn't that much of the output of the BBCs that I actually watch or like.
I definitely prefer their coverage of Six Nations rugby. Now that ITV's put adverts in the middle of the game, but that's another story.
I was at the England game on Sunday.
Suddenly in the middle of the game, I can't remember which game it was because I tend to watch them all. And suddenly half of the screen's an advert. I don't care. I'm not going to buy that because it annoys me so much when I'm watching the rugby. Right, I make a note of it. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. And I do that same with woke advertising, especially at Christmas. Let's look at the odds, and then I want to finish just with Starmer's travails again. These are the odds. These will change, of course, if you're watching it in the archive. One of those will be 100%, and the others be not. But Greens are in the lead. Reform close behind, too close to call in my view. Labour's clearly lost. There's no way Labour can win from there. You've got Advance UK in 4th place. That's interesting. And then Tories 750 to 1. And they're 700. They're terrible figures. Advance is up to 80 to 1, which is great if you've got a bet on it and they win. But the Tories and Lib Dems.
If I've got a bet on it, I go to prison. So it's not such a good
idea.
Oh,
yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, if you go inside knowledge, no. You wouldn't go to prison unless you actually know the outcome. You've got a time machine. If I had a time machine, I'd go 1 week forward and come back with a single copy of the Racing Post. That's what I do.
I've always thought that too.
That's all I do. I wouldn't do anything else. I wouldn't mess up the future or anything like that of my past. So those odds suggest the Greens are in the lead, but I think it's too close to call. And I think it's quite possible that Reform's voters will be so much more motivated because Greens could be voting against Labour. Reforms could be voting for Reform. I'm guessing a bit there, but we'll see.
And we have the same problem as the Republicans. You know, there's like the hidden voters.
But I was talking to, I think it was actually Nick Buckley, and he said the shy Labour now. They won't admit they vote Labour. They're too embarrassed to say that they still vote for Mr. Starmer, which brings me to
hang on. What time is it? You might not be right there.
Yeah, I know. That is the thing. Well, there are 3 front runners, I think. There are 2 of them. West Reading, massive problems because of his close association with Peter Mandelson. I won't go into it now, but if you're watching this live, West Reading's just admitted all these kinds of exchanges. Hugely embarrassing. There's no way West Reading's going to stay on the cabinet if Starmer survives, or shouldn't really, because he's been backstabbing. You've got Angela Rayner with her problems.
She's not in the cabinet.
Pardon? She's not in
the cabinet.
Done her a favour in a way, and as you say, I think she's probably the favourite. But then, what of this political giant? he could do it. That's an artist's impression. David Lammy, Deputy Prime Minister. Who knew? When you look at it, that's a risible set of options.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's Rayner's to lose. I really do.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think she unless she gets a really bad end of term report regarding all the business around moving houses, I think it's hers to lose. I really wouldn't want Wes to win because he is such a class act. He really is.
Well, he's better than of the three.
No,
he's
he
the
is.
most
He is
capable.
I know Wes very, very well, and he's a class act. I tell you, he would worry me if he was leader of the Labour Party.
And Burnham would have too, even though I'm not politically aligned.
Yeah,
He's a
well,
very
yeah.
nice person.
But for some bizarre reason, Burnham won't be able to be in the running. I can't remember why that is.
He will be loving it. He'll be loving it. Karma.
Well, I think Burnham will be absolutely gutted because I think the guy resigned in order to make some space for Burnham. I think there was some kind of agreement there between the two of them, and Starmer completely, can't think of the right word to use really, knifed Burnham, didn't he? Completely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you sort of feel it's all coming back to burn him now. So which of these is going to be the Prime Minister?
Well, I know which one's not going to be the Prime Minister.
Yeah, 4 years' time.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
Well, I'm not.
Farage...
Actually, I don't think either of them will be. I don't think Starmer is going to be the Prime Minister very much longer at all. Actually.
Yeah, but and I suspect that Farage won't be in 2 years because the Labour Party will just stagger on.
Well,
as long as they've
got such a massive majority. Why would they? Yeah. When the only thing that's going to happen, they're going to lose control. Why would they give up? I mean, if I was whoever the Labour leader is, I'd cling on to the very last minute.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the interesting thing. We're out of time, but thanks so much, Keith. You're enjoying your politics. I can tell. I can tell when you're happy because you almost smile. But you seem to have found a good home, as many people I know have. They feel that reform has really shaken the cage. If the Greens win, that in itself is interesting. Whoever wins in that by-election, the absolute loser is now bound to be Starmer. I think I can't see how he'll make it through March. I think on the 28th of February, if he's still in post, he won't be after that. 27th, I think.
Yeah. Well, great show. You're doing an amazing job.
Yeah, because if you say so yourself. Very much.
You're doing an absolutely amazing job. Well done. Great show. Thank you.
Good on you. That's nice of you to say that. Don't forget to like and subscribe then, Keith. Doesn't cost you anything. Get all your mates to do it. If we got the whole of Reform UK to like and subscribe, I'd be a pretty happy man.
Well, yeah. Over 250,000 people. I think you would be happy. Yeah.
Well, get them to do it. Get them to do it. Tell them you've been on. That's what. That is Keith Prince, recruit to Reform UK. I'll just add one more thought. If you're watching this live, it's obvious to me now Labour can't win that election, the by-election, and I think Starmer can't stay in post if they lose, and they will lose. The question is, can the Greens win? Huge result for Zach Polanski, who's the leader of Greens if they win. Huge result for Nigel Farage if they come first, but it'll be a 1-2 or 2-1. Either way, they are rattling the cage. And where are the Tories? Where are the Lib Dems? They're nowhere. Things are changing in this country. And, okay, it's a by-election, so the Greens aren't going to win the next general election. They might win that, though. They might win that by-election. But maybe, there's light at the end of the political tunnel, my opinion. And that light is not red. At least not Keir Starmer's colour of red. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks to the team. Thanks to Keith Prince. And more than anything, thanks to you for having the courage to watch unprecedented TV and make your own judgments. I'm Lembit Öpik. See you soon.
Immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The return of the sausages.